You need a new outfit for your friend's wedding. You need a new reel for your summer fishing trip. Where do you go to find those items? Is Amazon your go-to, or do you visit a local boutique or TJ Maxx for that cute dress? Do you go to a local hardware store, Co-op, or Bass Pro, or do you go online for that fishing reel? I know that sometimes we have to shop online due to the lack of availability in our local area, but I would persuade you to shop local as much as possible so that we may strengthen our own communities and consequently provide more opportunities for all. I'm going to cover 3 areas on this topic. The first will be that local businesses need our support. Second will be how we can support local businesses. And third will be the effects of supporting local businesses. So first, local businesses need our support. Small businesses need our support regularly. They can have a hard time getting started and staying afloat due to many regulations they must meet when creating products. According to the Washington Bureau Chief Kent Hoover in 2016, he says, the Code of Federal Regulations has grown to 175,000 pages, so it's no wonder that small businesses cite regulatory burdens as one of their biggest challenges. If there's not a market for businesses to count on for support and for being loyal customers, then how can they logically invest those millions to try to meet the requirements by the USDA or other organizations to be able to keep their business going? For example, in my area, there was a local father and son feed mill where they not only freshly mixed their feed for animals regularly, but sold other brands of animal feed. My family bought feed from them for years and were confident in their quality. I found out recently that they're going to have to close due to a new regulation by the USDA that says there can't be rats, cats, spiders, or dust in the same area that feed is bagged. For this particular business, this regulation would require them to put out over $1 million to update their facility. Small businesses can have a hard time getting started and staying afloat due to many regulations they must meet with taxes. They not only end up having to pay business taxes, but also they end up having to pay for help navigating those tax codes. Hoover goes on to say that 1/3 of small businesses report they spend over 80 hours per year on federal taxes, and nearly half pay at least $5,000 a year to accountants or other tax practitioners. These are just a couple of the kinds of the examples of regulations that businesses must navigate. It costs these businesses not just to create a product to sell, but also to maintain a facility that meets the standards set by federal agencies and to be able to handle their taxes. Local businesses need our support, especially now. Because of COVID-19, we've all had to change our normal routines. We couldn't go out on Friday night for dinner and to unwind from a long work week. We couldn't go study or catch up with a friend at our favorite coffee shop. We couldn't even get our haircuts for 3 months. As frustrating as this was for us, some of us were still able to work from home. That restaurant manager, barista, or hairdresser couldn't. They had to close indefinitely and maybe find a different alternative way to try to keep supporting their business and paying their employees. Even now, businesses are still navigating the restrictions in this continued COVID-19 era. Business could not have been the same for them during those past 3 months, and so in addition to just trying to maintain normal business, I'm sure they're having to try to recover from those 3 months where they didn't have much business at all. We can help our communities and neighbors in these situations by shopping local as much as possible. Having lots of consumers buying from them is one factor that can help enable them to keep going. So go to farmers markets for your produce and vegetables. The USDA points out that the food will be very fresh because it's usually grown in your area rather than thousands of miles away or even being in another country. The fruits and vegetables there are also sold in the peak of their season, so in addition to being fresh, they're also very delicious. It's a win for you and it's a win for the farmers. Consider buying from independent small coffee shops rather than Starbucks when you want coffee out. In my area, there was a couple named Matt and Anna, and they had a dream of starting their own coffee shop one day. They began renovations in December 2019 with the hope of opening in spring of 2020. Well, then quarantine happened, and their dreams of how their grand opening would look pretty much vanished. So they decided to open curbside, and they did this during the quarantine in the end of March. Within that first week of offering curbside service, they were completely bought out of their stock of coffee. This was really cool to see how the community just showed up for them. Try to shop stores and small shops versus online. If people don't shop at a store, you can't expect that store to just stay there indefinitely. I know that we might be in a tight situation with our money as well, but when we do need something and shopping local just takes a few extra bucks as opposed to more than Amazon, we can think of it as an investment in our community. If you wish your community had more or was a certain type of way, be the change you long for. It can't happen without support or a market for it. Pouring our money back into our community has many effects and benefits. Think with me just for a minute. You may long for a healthier community. Well, buying from local farmers, you have more confidence in the quality of the product you're getting. There's nothing quite like fresh organic produce. And small farmers will usually put in more care, thought, and effort into their business than larger corporations might. They may have higher values and higher quality than what you get from the large corporation. If farmers care about having quality dairy product for you to buy, odds are they're going to also care about the welfare of their animals, because you can't have nutritious milk without a healthy animal. People who are concerned about inhumane treatment of animals could see this as even more of a reason to support local small farmers. You may wish you had a more booming economy and shopping options available in your local community. If one store can stay afloat in a community for a while, and it's obvious that people will shop there consistently, it may encourage other businesses to move in. This provides more local jobs. Money poured directly back into your community means more money used to sustain and grow that local community. I read a statement written by the director of a localism advocacy organization. Her name was Julia Kahn. She says that according to the Retail Merchants Association, for every $1 spent at a local merchant, 45 cents is reinvested locally, while only 15 cents stays in the community from the same dollar spent at a big box store. Kahn goes on to say that buying locally enables us to invest directly into our local economy. By contributing to a local business, we help to preserve existing local jobs and create new skilled jobs. You may wish your community were stronger, more loyal, and more interactive. According to small business advocate Paul Nugent, small business owners are an important part of the communities in which they live and work. Thus, they tend to recognize how their decisions impact their neighbors. In addition, small business entrepreneurs tend to be involved in the community. And he goes on to explain how, by sponsoring local Little League teams or donating to homeless shelters, etc. Another way Nugent says small business owners can help build a sense of community is through their personal relationships with their customers, knowing many of them by name. I know many of us in small towns can see that firsthand. This kind of linking arms, I think, would be helpful in bringing a community together and creating a sense of camaraderie and a spirit of we're in this together. Now more than ever do we need this kind of spirit. Going back to my reference of the local entrepreneurs, Matt and Anna, as June came and several of the quarantine restrictions were lifted, they decided to open their coffee shop for inside service in addition to curbside. At this time, they released a statement on their social media account where they said, "This pandemic has been one heck of a time to open a business, and we're so appreciative of your kindness as we have navigated the twists, turns, and roadblocks along the way. Without your support, we could not have survived these last few months, and your loyalty has been such a blessing to our team." So next time you're grabbing dinner out, looking for a gift, or going shopping for groceries, think home first. Locals supporting locals. It may seem like a little thing, but it can directly impact the livelihood of your neighbors, strengthen the local economy, and provide more opportunities for all. Remember, change starts at home. Thank you for listening.